Today I showed students how to use a place value chart when rounding these larger numbers. For a problem like this, they are given one number and then they have to round it to all of these places. So they'll be reusing that number. I told students to put the original number into the place value chart, and it's usually easier, with these larger numbers to start in the ones place, because then they won't have any gaps by accident or whatnot. And part A was to round this number to the nearest tens. So the way that I taught kids was underline that place. So we're going to underline the tens place, and then we put an arrow above the digit directly to the right. Okay. And when we're dealing with a large number like this and we're going to round to the tens and the hundreds and even the thousands, this is usually where kids get tripped up the most, because there's not as many zeros to end to the right or add to the right, and they still have to remember to include all these. So again, round to the nearest tens. Underline the place we're gonna round, put an arrow over the digit that's directly to the right, and then I tell them, what is the value of that 2? And they say a 20. And then I tell them, remember to attach the rest of these digits here. We're rounding to the tens place, so we want to write what the next tens place would be, and I told them, like, well, just go up by 1, but it's really not 1, it's a 10, and then rewrite everything. And so what this is telling us is that this top number falls in between these two numbers, and they use the digit that has an arrow to determine whether they're going to circle the smaller number or the larger number. And since that's a 4, they will circle the smaller number. And that's what they would write on this line right here. And now when rounding to the nearest hundreds, I taught them, and it's the same thing, but we'll just erase that there. So I said we're gonna underline the place that we're rounding to, that's the hundreds, point an arrow. The value of that 7 is 700. Remember to include everything that comes before. And then if we were counting up by hundreds, this would go up to 800, and we want to remember to, again, include everything. So according to the digit that we're pointing to, it's a 2, it's going to tell us to circle the smaller number because it is closer to that one. Okay, and I'll just do one more because then the rest is pretty self-explanatory. So part C is rounding to the nearest thousands, so we'll underline that thousands place, point an arrow over the digit to the right. The value of that 8 is actually 8,000. Remember to include everything that comes before it. And then we just write one more, but really we're going up by 1,000. Okay. According to the arrow, we're pointing to a 7, so that's going to tell us to go up to the larger number. So if we round this to the nearest thousands, it's closest to, or closer to 349,000. So to study and to just be able to practice for the homework that they've been given this weekend, it might be a good idea to maybe make up some numbers that go into the 100,000s and have your child round to these places, and they can practice using this place value chart. So hope that helps.